change the future, you know.
Hey everyone, how are we all doing? Happy Wednesday and welcome to Myles Dyer Live, where every week we talk all about many topics from the fun to the serious, world events, pop culture. Sometimes we do quizzes, but today we're going to be talking all about live streaming because I was thinking about this earlier in the week, and maybe it's because I'm just in my own bubble, but I was like, I wonder how many people out there have actually never live streamed in their life, because live streaming, yes, okay, it can be like professional productions, it can be people that do it on a regular basis like myself, but also like anyone can just start live streaming on Instagram Live. Sometimes people like to go on these live stream apps with friends. You know, technically live streaming is like when you're on Google Meets with a group of people. That is some kind of live streaming. And so I put a poll in the chat asking everyone if you've live streamed before. And for some of you, it might be once or twice. Some of you, it might be regularly. Others, it might be something you're curious about but never have. And others, just the idea of it, like public speaking, is absolutely terrifying. So, yeah, I can feel you on that. That's once upon a time. Can't believe already it is Wednesday, the 11th of February, 2026, and especially because we're now in the shortest month of the year, at work at the moment, plotting everything that we're sort of working on in marketing over the next few months, and like already looking into May. I just have a feeling that this year is going to absolutely fly by. But yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone for all the support last week. It was a really good chat, really good episode. And I'm really glad everyone's enjoying the fact that I'm having guests on a regular basis. It's just such a nice dynamic. Something I'm very mindful of, though, is that when I have guests on, I always want to be present and, you know, what's it called? Like intentional listening. I want to make sure that I'm being polite, but I also want to make sure I'm not ignoring the chat. And I want you all to know that I don't ignore the chat. I am reading it. And I guess when it was normally just me on my own, responding to you directly, it's a bit more conversational, but it is something I'm looking to improve on. And so if you have questions throughout, just let us know. And thank you for bearing with me as we sort of go into this new phase, because I was just thinking, like, Myles Dyer Live, every year I'm probably going to talk about a topic for a second time. And I kind of find myself thinking, like, I've kind of talked about everything I need to say. So having people on, having a different perspective, it obviously goes back to the days when I did the Quest for Empathy podcast. And I'm just really hyped about doing this now. So for today, talking about live streaming, I'm really looking forward. I'm going to be bringing on just a moment Katie, who is the director of marketing at Ecamm Live, or Ecamm. And for those that don't know, Ecamm Live is the software that I use for live streaming. And so as a caveat, I'm not sponsored by Ecamm. I am a happy customer. And Katie I've known through some of the events that they do. And what I love a lot about Ecamm is they're not just people that put a product out there, that they really do look at educating people, letting people embrace these tools and, you know, build confidence in the live streaming that they're doing. But Katie also co-hosts the VHS Club podcast, where herself and her best friend Natalie review films from the 80s, 90s and early 2000s. And so she's seen what it is to be a creator from many angles, both from the tech side and the storytelling side. And I hope you all join me as we welcome her now. So Katie Fawkes, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. I love that I can see the comments. This is like, it's so fun. It's so fun to be on the back end of Ecamm here.
I've always said this, that it's, you know, the reason that this show is as nice as it is nothing to do with me. It's just because of the wonderful community. Yeah. The live chat is always good. And when did Ecamm start? I'm already doing that Ecamm pop quiz for you. Yeah, here we go. I've got 10 questions here. I'm going to score you at the end. You know.
Shoot, I'm gonna fail all of them. Don't tell my bosses. No, I mean, Ecamm, the company, has been around for over 20 years. It was
wow.
Our co-founders are twin brothers who just wanted to make apps that were helpful, largely Mac apps. They started in the Palm Pilot days, where they were making Palm Pilot apps. But Ecamm Live has been around, I want to say 8 years. It came out very shortly after the announcement and kind of first run of Facebook Live. So it's been around as long as Facebook Live.
No, Wow. Yeah, and most people I speak to who do live streaming from the get-go, they often use stuff like OBS, which is like an open source free app, and I hear that from a lot of gaming live streamers. Yeah. And I discovered this through Luria Petrucci, who does live streaming pros. And if you haven't checked her out and you're ever interested in like learning to live stream, a lot of what I've done, she's whether incredible. It's the setup of this or even setting up my studio, the camera, the tech, I got so much value from just tuning into her live streams that I say out of guilt. It's not guilt. It actually didn't make me feel guilty. But like I became a member because I thought, I owe you so much for the value that you've given. And then,
here's my money.
Yeah, and then I had a professional budget, development budget at my last job, and so I signed up for the course that she did. And like I did learn stuff, and I met a lot of great people there. And I think that gets to the heart. Like you work in marketing at Ecamm. That often people, when it comes to marketing, the number one thing you can do is give people like free value, because that's how you build trust. It's how you build relationships. And that's why people eventually do put their hand in their pockets and buy, because people always think, why are you giving away something for free? But in this day and age, like that is how you build those contacts and relationships. And with Ecamm, you're not just a platform, you do events, and you're coming to the UK soon, right?
Yeah, we'll be there in April. I'm so excited. As you know, I grew up in Canada, and I've been now living in the United States for the past 20 something years. And so anytime I get to go back to either Canada or across the pond to the UK or to, I'm just like, feels like home. It feels like a homecoming for me. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Looper in the chat was saying, because I was saying earlier about it's technically live streaming if you're doing a Google Meets, and he was like, no, I think it only counts if it's public. No. I think that's fair. That's fair. It's public. Live streaming. Yeah. Well, you can do like, I guess if you're doing a membership or a private, it's still a live stream. But yeah, I'm with you. It's interesting. Like live streaming is just, I would say, having a live feed out there. So yeah, I guess doing Google Meets isn't quite that, but I think it's a good first step for people. If you're comfortable doing that, I think you're halfway there.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same skills. It's been interesting. I feel like when I first joined the Ecamm team, there was this concept of live streaming was one thing, podcasting was another thing, recording videos for social was another thing. Like it was kind of all these different silos of different types of video that you could create in very different ways. And I feel like here in 2026, a lot of it is now the lines are blurred. A lot of it is the same thing. You can get a lot of the endpoints from one recording process. I think you can, I agree. I think it's a different experience from an experience standpoint for your audience and for your community, whether you're live on YouTube or Twitch or where have you, or you're in a Google Meet. But I think the creation process or what the experience is like from the host standpoint is becoming more and more similar across the board. The possibilities are really similar in all these different tools.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Corey, I just want to send some love out to Corey. He says, how's everybody? I'm not doing so good. It's been like a roller coaster, but I hope everyone's doing better. Sending huge love to you, Corey. I hope you're doing well, and a lot of love for you in the chat. Phil, who I'm working with on an awesome game that he's been developing, saying marketing to me is still complete sorcery. Leave it to you professionals. I mean, sorcery is the best way of putting it. Some people would say it's alchemy. It's just throwing stuff together and then just see what's out there. I mean, honestly, when it comes to like social media, some people would go, "Oh, Myles, why are you saying this?" Like when I'm asked, like, I can give you a sense of what it is to be good at storytelling or create content that is optimized for particular platforms. But, there are some people who've absolutely nailed it, and they have huge data sets of working with big creators, optimizing. But for the most part, like when you're starting from nothing, there is a lot of trial and error, because it's kind of like the stock market. Like there are people that have developed algorithms that are just siphoning money because it's just so quick at optimizing. But for a lot of people, it's kind of like because everyone's trying to work it out, everyone's sort of moving the algorithm together. And so there is a general direction, but how quickly you get there is some kind of lottery to it. And so the number one thing you can do with social media is just be consistent. And by being consistent, every time that you're putting something out there, you're basically playing a lottery ticket. and that might be the thing that gets traction and then feeds into everything else you're doing, which is why sometimes you can make a lot of great content and it's not really going anywhere, and there's this sense of like, is this all a waste? But no, because if you finally get that thing that does well, people are then falling back to an account where they're like, oh, there's a track record here.
Yeah.
Last thing I'd say on this before I ramble on, and just say, if anyone's got any questions for us about live streaming, I've seen some of them already. If you put a Q at the beginning of your question, I just know that it's something you want us to answer, and I'll save it and build a list of it, and we'll start going through them. Yeah, like my YouTube channel, I think about 10 years ago, I hit 50,000 subscribers, and now I'm on like
awesome.
59,000 something, because, and this actually does tie into live streaming, I got burnt out from videos because I'd done it for, in May I would have been on YouTube 20 years, a long time. And we're hearing a lot of 20 years at the moment. But I hit burnout, and I sort of stopped. But also over the last 20 years, I've used YouTube in a lot of different ways. I started off doing sort of comedy sketches, like testing the platform. Then I did mental health videos. Then I sort of did activism, politics. Now I do gaming. The thing I should have done, which would have been easy, was just start a new YouTube channel. But I see value in, you can see my first ever YouTube video and like see how far I've come. I like the evolution. And so there has been a lot of, I'm growing a lot of subscribers, but I'm also losing a lot dead accounts, old accounts, people that aren't interested anymore in what I'm doing now, which is absolutely fine. And so I do see value in legacy content and like having people being able to see how far you've come. So I think that's a big part of it as well. But that's why I got to live streaming, because live streaming is a skill. I'm not taking it away, but I do like the casual nature of, I can have this all set up and I don't have to, I can have a script, but I don't have to script a video, film it, edit it, upload it, optimize it. Like, there's so many more steps to it. Live streaming, it's like, we do this and then it's done. And then we can cut highlight clips and stuff like that. Do you do any video content, or do you do just live streaming mainly?
It's so it's so funny. I've been on this like journey, for lack of a better word, where I used to be really, I used to in previous jobs have to do, work with a videography team and work on, training videos or videos that were like resources. And that was the most intimidating thing for me. Like, the second the camera crew arrived, even though I have, I feel like I'm a fairly good public speaker, I have years of theater training, my whole body was just like, nope, like a whomp down.
You were okay, I'm gonna pick you up on the theater thing later. You were in the theater?
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
I was a theater geek, a theater kid in school. So the long-winded answer to your question is, I feel like I've done aspects of all forms of video, and I thought live streaming would be the scariest, most intense form of all of it, because there's like a live audience watching. And I do these days feel like it is the safest space and the most forgiving space. And in a world of kind of all of the AI out there, I feel like it also allows me permission to not say it all perfectly or do it all perfectly. I can get the content done, and then I can repurpose it. I can re-record parts that I need to re-record that maybe I want to be more intentional with. It's a wonderful practice space. It's a wonderful starting space. So I do create all different kinds of video content, but I feel like at this point in time, live is kind of the undercurrent foundation. And even when I'm recording videos, I'm still creating them as if I was live. I'm building them out as if they are live, so that I'm able to use the video content in a lot of different ways. Because I'm not a video editor at all. And sometimes I don't have time or budget or resources to be able to do that. So I need to be clever with how I'm creating the content and make sure that it's as easy as possible, as seamless as possible, and a quality that I'm proud of and want to be able to put out.
I love that a lot. When I do my PSVR 2, my Let's Plays of PlayStation VR games, they're live streams, but I have it set up with video VOD in mind. Yep. And so what I do is, thanks to the great features of Ecamm, I'm not sponsored. I'm a happy customer. But and you can probably do this on other great live streaming services.
I'm sure.
But what I do is, when I start my live stream, as soon as I click live, it plays the trailer for the game. So it's like, bam, you're hit with like, here's the promise of the game I'm about to play. It also means, because in VR, I've got to get in position with my headset on and like make sure I'm standing in the right place on camera. So once the live stream and then I hear the PlayStation voice at the end of their commercials, I know it's come to me. I introduce myself, tell everyone the usual stuff, like I'm live streaming every game. I play it for an hour, and then I give my final thoughts at the end. And I see in the stats on my videos that there's a lot of people that will go to my Let's Plays and they'll go just to the end, knowing that's when I give my final thoughts, and that's great. But and they do very well after on YouTube, because I have them optimized for search as well. Whereas there's some people that think live streaming is just for in the moment, and I think that, you know, when I'm doing my Let's Plays, they are with I'm able to hear in my ears the people that are watching, the chat's read out in my ears while I've got the headset on. So I am still speaking with them, but it's also done in a context of like, there's the interactive element, but it will still appeal to people that are watching it on replay. And I have some rules for that. So like when I'm talking about games, if I get asked questions about stuff not to do with the game at hand, I will ignore it or just gloss over it, because I'm just like, this won't make so much sense for people that are watching on replay, and so you have to be sort of cognizant of it. But I do think that it allows you to deal with both things of, you know, people in the moment, and then there's people that just are on a different time zone, but they still want to tune in on different times.
Yeah, exactly. I think what's really kind of been fun about the live streaming space is that there are always people in the room. And so that is what I thought would be really scary, but ended up actually being like a wonderful safety net, because at the moment where the thoughts slip out of my head, or I feel the voices creeping in that are telling me that I sound terrible, what am I doing? I'm not knowledgeable enough. All the things that pop up in your mind, there's inevitably always someone in the chat who is like, oh, I'm so glad I'm here today, or I just needed a chance to, to disconnect and connect with my people, or that was so helpful, and they asked follow-up questions. And those are all moments of reassurance, in the same way that someone in an audience smiling or nodding or taking notes makes you feel better. Seeing the people in the chat, even if you're not necessarily even answering their question or addressing them directly, is almost just a helpful confidence boost to be able to be like, oh, okay, great, I'm on the right path, I'm going to continue on. I'm here. It's not about me. I'm here helping other people. I'm here engaging with other people, entertaining them, whatever your goal is for your video. I feel like that's a lot less intense than staring into a camera and trying to remember exactly what your script was or your notes were, or looking at a teleprompter. And you have a lot more opportunity to get in your own head or get into kind of a perfectionist loop in that kind of environment than you do when you're live, because you just have to push through. You've committed to be there. There are people watching. You can more or less correct what you're doing, but also you just need to push through and finish, and then you can evaluate how that went, if you want to redo it, if you want to, whatever happens on the other side of it. But there is everything that makes it scary and maybe not everyone's favorite thing when they're first considering it. Are all of those things are also the reason why it is so unique and special and helpful, both as a practice space as well as to just help you get consistent with creating content more often. And then the recorded stuff then is easier on the other side of it, because you now have put in the reps. You've gotten much more confident with it, or you've created a whole bunch of video content just through going live that, as you said, you can repurpose, or it's even ready to go if you're thinking about it up front in the replay. So it's I don't know, it's a really special, I think, a really special format, and I'm so glad we have it. And it's that kind of on the upswing. I feel like it was this like new novel thing, and people sort of either jumped into it or didn't. And then there was a little bit of a quiet, and then the pandemic came and everyone, needed to get live or needed to connect with video. And then there was sort of this drop off period where there was a lot more focus on, maybe kind of more raw video in a vertical format, or short form content, or all these kind of other different formats of content. And now I feel like, again, probably largely pushed by all of the different AI and AI slop that's out there, people, I think, like to be able to have a real experience where they know if they're showing up. Like, you and I are both here. We're connecting. Anything can happen.
That
Cats
is it.
could run in. Kids could run in. Like, it's a bit voyeuristic but it's real. We know it's real people. We know it's not, we're not being lied to or fake. There's no fake anything in this. Anything could technically happen. will happen here in this live space.
It is the anything could happen, like, which can be a bit nerve-wracking at times. Like, you don't want to slip, but it helps diffuse the sense of like letting perfect be enemy of the good, which is, you know, you make a mistake, you move on. Again, some of my game live streams, I've had it where I've started and I've accidentally had it. I put my AirPods on last, and it's auto made the microphone my AirPods. Now, just what I do in my game live streams is I have these under my headphones. So this is linked to my laptop reading the chat, and then I have headphones, which is the game audio. So when it goes to that, I'll start speaking, and then I start hearing people going, "You sound really muffled," and it's because it's cupping, so I'm sounding like Bane from Batman. And straight away, I'm like, a part of me's like, I want to cut the feed right now, but then it means start a brand new YouTube live stream. Like, everyone's now got to go to the new link. It won't be good for the algorithm. And it's like, no, I'll do timestamps. And again, it's like, okay, yeah, it might have been better if I'd started a new one, but having people go to a second link and all that sort of stuff, you got to sort of balance it up. And in the grand scheme of things, that was a teachable moment. I've now got that a part of my process to check and make sure that I don't let it happen again. Another thing is also improving the way that you speak. I used to and ah a lot, and there are moments where I do and ah a lot if I'm starting to think a lot about a question. And not to blame anyone else, but sometimes if I have a guest that uses the word like a lot, it rubs off on me and I start using it a lot. I don't know what it is. It's this kind of contagious thing, like every sentence saying that. So what, by the way, lots of great questions coming through. And Phil was just saying about consistency. Consistency is great advice in general. If you think you've hit a wall, you can figure out how to navigate around. You can quit and go back, or you can push through. For years, I quit and start again. And there is sometimes a good thing of quitting and starting again. But again, I think the live aspect does give you that permission to push through in that way. Lots of great questions. My question to you, Katie, is... Okay, wait. We've got to talk about this actually first. Phil was asking. You've got to ask about that block. So when Katie came up with that, and I had seen it before, I was like, I still have my Blockbuster membership, and I went into my little novelty box, and I've got my Blockbuster membership card. And that's your work card. You worked at Blockbuster. That's my work card. Yeah. And this was from...
I wish I had my membership card.
Yeah. Issued from 2005 in... Reading.
Prime days.
Yeah.
That feels both like yesterday and also a million years ago.
Blockbuster. So my memory of Blockbuster, which I'm sure many will relate to, is you'd go in on a Friday, spend 2 hours finding a movie you want to watch, finding it, and then realizing someone else had already rented it, so you couldn't watch it. Explaining that to kids these days. Like, you go on Netflix, and if it's listed, I mean, there's a new scrolling culture on there. But, like, no, you used to go out to a physical store, agonize, make a choice, and then realize they didn't have it in stock. You had to wait until someone had brought it back. Like, mind-blowing. What was it like working there? That must have been cool.
It was so much fun. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Clerks, but it was almost exactly like the movie Clerks in that it was the... strangest group of mostly high school, early college kids. There was no like adult in the room taking care of any of it. And we worked in a very, very, very busy store. So it was just chaos all the time, but in the most fun possible way. I will never forget my all-time favorite moment. There were a few, but this one's my favorite.
I love this one that stands out to you.
I worked most nights, so 5 to midnight, almost every single night, and then went to uni in the morning. So it was a crazy busy time, but it was like probably 11:30 in the evening. So we were kind of closing off, things were quieter, and this gigantic man walks in, like scary level huge man, and it's just me and then one other woman who was younger than me, and I was the one in charge. It's like the shift manager or whatever. And so she was in the back room, it was just me. He walks in, he comes immediately to the counter, so he's got a problem, and he gives me his Blockbuster card, and I scan it, and the whole account goes like blinky red problems. He owes, I can't remember the exact amount, I want to say it was like $200 something in late fees. This was still in the late fees era.
Wow.
Before they decide. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm very non-confrontational.
Yes.
I'm Canadian, so I'm like, I don't have $200 something to be able to pay off this man's fine. And so I'm trying to figure out in my head, in probably sheer panic, how I can tell this man that he owes a lot of money without him freaking out and like hurting me or yelling at me. And it's late. So I'm like, I'm preparing myself for how I'm going to say this is a moment of just awkward silence. And he says, oh, I probably owe some late fees. My girlfriend never returns movies on time. And I'm like, yeah, there are some late fees. And then I kid you not, as I'm trying to figure out what to say, he reaches down in his pocket and he pulls out like a wad of cash that's about this big around with an elastic band around it. And he says, what's the damage? Like, so I just say, I'm just like 200 whatever dollars. And he peels back $100 bills. So he hands me $300 bills and he goes, you keep the change, you kids get some pizza, and just walks out. He must have been a drug dealer or some kind of, I can't imagine who carries that much money on them in like small town Canadian city.
Goodness.
But it was my favorite moment ever because it just was so unexpected. It was literally, it felt like it was out of a movie. I was having a full-fledged panic attack and It just ended up being completely fine. It was just the nicest moment.
And did he rent anything after that? Or did he just came in to do the damage?
He came in because his girlfriend had racked up fees and he just wanted to pay his fees. He was just like, oh, I'm just going to come in and pay my fees and treat the kids to pizza, which we did. We ordered all of the pizza. We had the best night of pizza and candy. But yeah, it was a fun. So Blockbuster was such a fun experience across the board. And I miss those days. I miss getting to like, there was a magic in going with mostly my dad, but my parents to the Blockbuster when I was little, and then being like, you can get whatever you want. Like It's family movie night. We're going to rent our adult movie and you're going to rent your kid movie and you and your brother pick whatever you want. And we would just go nuts. And they always were like, yes to candy, yes to popcorn. Like it was the night where we just felt like we were the wealthiest people in the world. You could pick anything. They didn't care. It was super exciting.
Oh,
yeah, it's right. Games, yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
totally
I used to get PlayStation games from there. The original PlayStation. Yes. There was a game called Overboard. It was where you're on a pirate ship. I just remember getting that. Oh man, memories. And I think that one of the first movies I got one of the first games one of the first movies I got from there. I think it was for my 16th birthday. It was Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Oh, perfect.
And it felt like such a rebellious movie of like, I can't believe we're renting this. Oh my god. Man, Beavis and Butthead is still going strong, right? They had a movie a couple of years ago. I think
so.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy the age of some of these properties now. Pokemon this year is 30 years old.
I refuse to believe it. I live entirely with the assumption that we're still in the year 2000. So like if people are like the 90s, I'm like, yeah, 10 years ago. Like my goodness. I'm sorry to everyone. I live entirely in the past. I always feel bad when I'm on shows and they're talking about modern day television and movies and I just don't. They assume that I have seen anything and I have not. I only am watching older movies and older TV. I'm terrible for all of that.
When was the first time you ever live streamed?
So the first live stream I ever did was within the first couple of weeks of starting at Ecamm. I had tons of friends because I worked in marketing for my whole career. So I had friends and colleagues and contacts who had been live streaming on predominantly on Periscope back in the day.
Periscope.
So I knew of it,
goodness,
right?
Yeah.
I knew how it worked, but I was like, that's not for me. I'm not a creator. I'm a behind the scenes person. I've always been a behind the scenes person. And then I really, really wanted this job at Ecamm and I was doing contract work for them, helping them with marketing. And I loved the team. I loved the product they were building, the community they were building. But the job was, we have all these incredible creators and influencers we're working with, but we don't have a marketing person. And they want us to do a show. They want to come on. They want to like share their expertise. They just love the software so much. They really want to be a part of this experience. So will you come on and join the team and start a live show? And I was like 100%. I'm in, I want to do this. And then the moment they were out of the room, I was like having feelings and why did I say yes to this? And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a fraud. I've never done this before. I don't know how to use the software. I don't know. So it was a trial by fire. And I kid you not, if you go back and look at the original videos, they're still up on the Ecamm channel. We started with this series called Meet the Pros, all experts. So people like Luria, like incredible creators, way smarter than me, still way smarter than me. And it took me, I think I was episode 9. So that was like 9 weeks of everyone else on the team volunteering to be the host while I produced behind the scenes. Like I somehow managed to convince everyone that I would just build the scenes and like schedule the guests. And I was like, well, maybe Glenn can come on this week and maybe Ken can host it this week. We'll rotate hosting as a team. And it was like week 8 or 9 before I ended up actually hosting myself. But I'm so glad I did, because as scary as it was so, I'm glad I put myself in that situation. I'm glad that I'm glad that I was forced to do it. Like I just wanted the thing so badly that I was willing to do it. And then the more that I did it, the easier it got. And now I can't imagine not doing this. Like I have my own personal show. I host a show with one of my colleagues at Ecamm that's all about podcasting using Ecamm. So I'm live now all the time. But I remember like how like it would come to the day of, and Ken and Glenn, who are so patient, our co-founders, were like, we could probably host today if you don't want to. And I'd be like, yeah, I feel there's like an itch in my throat. I feel like maybe I'm not 100% today. Maybe you guys could do it. So I'm definitely the billboard for did not want to do this, found it really, really scary for all of the reasons. And now just I really can't imagine not spending time here, because there's so many cool people to meet, so many incredible conversations, so many big opportunities that exist within the live streaming space.
Yeah, you're crushing it now. So what year would have that been when you started?
I've been with the team for 7 years. I'm not good at fast math.
So 2019.
You're on your own for the math.
2019 roughly, yeah. So, oh man, that's crazy. So I've live streamed longer than I've been doing YouTube. So I think this was it. The first time I discovered live streaming was on MySpace. And on MySpace, you know, you could do bulletins. Yep. So it was like, I don't know how bulletins worked. It was like a sort of a status post, wasn't it? Like a but it was like a little mini blog, and people would do like friend trains where add me to a friend and pass it on. And people were able to embed, because MySpace is what taught us all how to do HTML. I learned how to make text
we were
bold.
all HTML. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I copied someone's code and put it on mine. I am a HTML pro. Yeah, that's it. And then there were people that were embedding these like live streams, and it was the coolest thing ever. And there was a website called Ecamm. Now, like a lot of technology, my understanding was Ecamm initially, technology is used, it usually comes up for one of two industries. One, it's military or the porn industry. And I believe Ecamm was initially used for pornography, but then they had this one that was for like
and
regular
MySpace.
consumers. Yeah, MySpace, right. So it was all of us teenagers hanging out in bedrooms, playing music, obviously illegally back then, you know, just playing music and hanging out. And what you could do is you could live stream, and then down the side, and I've actually, Katie, just dug up pictures from back. Oh my God. This is going to be a trip. Let me switch to...
What our parents just did not even know. Like, we had our family computer in the basement, and it was like 2 a.m. We were just doing all kinds of things.
Yeah, this is correct. So, I will... What one am I going to show first and stuff? So oh my God, I was so emo back then. Let me have a look here. Is this...
Was everything a song lyric? That was the trend.
Yeah,
right?
That was a big part of it.
It was an emotional song lyric.
So this was how it was laid out. So everyone could go on camera down the side. You could have a status on your screen. Everyone had square cameras. People could type in the chat, but yeah, other people could go on camera. And then you can see under my name in the middle, it says Myles Dyer, and then it says 9. And that little ghost icon, they were called lurkers. And lurkers were people that weren't logged in that were watching it. You can see the mods, which are the green icons. You can see who's on cam with the and this was the most incredible thing. So I don't know what year this would have been, but then in 2006, just as I started on YouTube, I decided to do a 24-hour non-stop live stream where every hour I took a 5-minute break, and it was for UNICEF unofficially, and it was something that was called Stick Aid. They let me go with that name. So I was just looking at it. Let me see if I can get this working. Is this going to work?
I have never done a 24-hour stream. It's been on my list for a while. We've done a 12-hour like all day stream, but never 24 hours. That'll be my next challenge.
Let me have a look here. Is this going to work? It's not going to work. So what I'll do instead is I'll go back to what we were on, and then I am going to just take a screen grab and put it in here. So I was looking on the Wikipedia page, and this is what Stickam was, and then I scrolled down and I couldn't believe this, because back in like 2007 or 8, I had a Wikipedia page. And I was asking people to edit it, and so it got banned because obviously you can't have one made of you. And I looked on this. I'm actually on this, but I'm not a clickable link. So I'm just going to bring this up now. It says here. It says, I'll put it over me. It goes, since 2007, Stickam came to the UNICEF fundraiser known as Stick Aid, hosted by YouTube vlogger Myles Dyer. It's not a hyperlink, guys. Can anyone fix it? This event is regarded as the world's first webathon. It was the first ever 24-hour live stream.
Wow.
And basically, it started in my bedroom. Then I did it at my parents' place, where I got every hour, the 5-minute break was a different YouTuber doing a video. And then in 2010, 2011, it was done in a TV broadcast studio in London. And I think over 1 million people watched. It was crazy. But then it got so big, it would have been a full-time job, and I couldn't afford it. And then the culture of content creators changed. People wanted to be paid for it because there was Twitch and all these things up and coming. But it's just crazy to sort of see it. But the other thing, Katie, the more embarrassing stuff was what we also used to do was we used to sleep on cam. So we would just be live streaming, be in bed, and we would all, you can see everyone down the side, just teenagers. Look, there's 250 lurkers. We would just fall asleep on camera and just fall asleep. And then I'd wake up the next morning and there'd be still people there going, you were snoring or talking in your sleep, Myles. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this was not good. But that was the good old days of live streaming before Stickam eventually ended, unfortunately. And I can't imagine ever doing this now, if I'm being completely honest.
I don't know. Bring it back. I think it's great. There's something about, I know this has, I say this knowing that this has potential to be super creepy and there's a whole bunch of weird things that could happen. But the vision behind something like this is that, how neat was it, and is it still now, that we can connect with each other across countries, across generations, across it's amazing. I know this.
Canic Tunes, I knew from back then, all the way back then, he was a viewer, and I met him. He's Canadian as well.
Oh, I know. He's got the Canuck. He's
Canuck. Of course.
Yeah. No, I just think it's so neat. If we're sharing embarrassing moments, I will say that I am guilty of. I was a huge fan in these days. So while you were MySpacing and live streaming, I was a giant fan of this Canadian pop band called the Moffats. They were like an equivalent to Hanson.
Right. Yeah.
I hold strong that they were awesome. I shout out to them. I built an entire website with my incredible HTML skills. And I had a live chat, and we went out to concerts, and we had a whole community based around the website. We had merch. I made a killing one summer selling t-shirts and so there was something about growing up in this era where we had no business to do what we did, but just the confidence to think we could. So there was just I almost in some ways feel bad for my kids or the kids growing up now that they're sort of so over protected, and which justifiably to some extent, but God bless my dad. He drove us all over the place for every conceivable concert interview I wanted to do. He never asked the weirdest possible. Awesome. He was like, "Oh, well, that's for her website." Had no idea what that even meant. He was just taking me all around to do stuff. I think I was 16 or 15. But I figured it out. It was all figure outable, and it was something that I could do. But it was this idea, similarly to the everyone's sleeping together,
Yeah,
quote
right.
unquote, everyone being asleep together, where there was just an idea of like you can build a community, and you can have these people that you get to spend time with that have the same interests as you, that you can talk with, um that get it. So I don't know. The vibe is still the same in the live streaming space. I can tell you as someone that
Well, it's
does
intimate, isn't it? Yeah.
it's intimate. Yeah, and you get to meet these people, and you get to spend time with them week after week if you're consistent with what you do, and you get to know them, and they really do become friends, and it's just a really, I don't know, it's special. You don't have to be a host of a TV show in order to have a fandom, in order to have a community, that's so special. What a cool time that we live in, that we're able to do something like that. I never thought like TV personality would ever be on my resume, but honestly, like basically what I'm doing these days, which is still just surreal to think about.
No, it's such a skill, and it's with your communication, and again, like, you know, the way that you storytell, all those aspects is super important. I'm going to ask you some really basic questions now, Katie.
Go for it.
And then I've got some from the chat as well. But firstly,
sure.
What does it take to be a live streamer? Like, if you've never done live streaming before, you got a computer, you've never done it. What are the fundamentals? Equipment, like setup, obviously Ecamm, but
well, I mean, honestly, you can literally start with your phone. So if you're sitting here and you're like, I cannot, you can start with your phone. You can hit live on almost any platform has it, and you can just go. Go and practice. And that's probably a good first step if you have just no idea what you're doing and you just want to be able to get the reps in and get comfortable and see what's possible. Start with your phone, start there. The next level up, the next step up would be, as you said, to get a computer. All you really need, honestly, is a microphone that is a little bit better than what's built into your computer. As you were saying earlier, like your computer probably sounds a little like this. Like it's probably not going to be great. Same with what's built into your AirPods or your whatever like headphones you're using. That's not going to be great for audio. But you don't have to go like super fancy from the get-go. You can just something that plugs into your computer that gives you a little bit better audio. That's the most important. These days, you can actually use your phone as your camera. It's remarkable, the quality of it. Even an old phone, even a multiple generations old phone, you can just have on a tripod. It will sync into your computer, whether you physically plug it in or you connect it wirelessly, and it will show up in multiple softwares. Like Ecamm will see your phone and you can use it as a camera. You can get a really cheap webcam. The one I'm on right now is a 4K webcam. It is an $89 camera. So you don't need to be using the most expensive things. And honestly, the simpler the tech, the less challenges you're going to have as you're getting up and running, because there's less things that can go wrong. The more complex the tech that you add in, the more challenges you're going to see. You really need to know your tech very well at that point, because inevitably something's going to go wrong. A cable will die, a power surge will happen. All these different things will happen. So start really simply. Like you literally just start with your phone, and when one step up, microphone first, then phone maybe as your camera, or a really affordable webcam. And then for lighting, depends on what's in your space. You probably want to be able to control the lighting, but you could start just by sitting near a natural lighting source. But even that, I mean, lighting is so easy in some ways, because if you buy any kind of studio light, whether it's like a ring light, anything that's not a lamp, right? Move it close to you. And then you can just do this. I do this all the time. I'm like, okay, this is lit, but this is not lit. I'm going to move this one closer to me. Okay, this is brighter. I'm going to move that further. And then you can control most of them with an app. So it's not as hard as it seems. It's just that there's so many people out there who have these incredibly cool, super studio spaces that have convinced us all that we need the most before we can even start. But you're not looking at their first video, right? So start simply, start with the storytelling, start with the content, your why, and then add the tech in, because the tech can get checklisty, and you can definitely get stunted and stopped before you even create anything, because you're like, oh well, I can't yet because I need to save up for this, specific camera that so and so YouTuber told me I needed, and then I can't because I don't have Ecamm yet, and Myles said I needed Ecamm, so I can't do that right now. You can start without any of it, and then as you get better and as you're able to afford it and as it works into your world and your budget and your plan, add these things in.
That's such a good list. There's a few things you mentioned I want to pick up on. So firstly, you mentioning that your camera is 4K webcam and it was $80 something. My camera, and there's actually 2 points I'm going to make of this. My camera is not 4K. It's I think it's 1080. So yours
things looks as good, if not better, than mine. So
right.
You're
so two things I was going to say was I do want to get 4K, and the thing is, and this is using the Sony. I can't remember what make it is. I need to look it up. But it is because it's about lighting, and with webcams, it's lighting is it. I was on a music video shoot for my band once, and the POD had said that something that is so obvious, but just hearing it was really great. He goes, the only thing the camera sees is light. And it was just like, it was an interesting thing of hearing it, of like, all it is lighting. And so if you get the lighting, and there's lots of great tutorials online about lighting, about having your key light, your fill light, and then your backlight. So my backlight is that, kind of works and that. But also, you made the point, like when you look at other live streamers, do not compare yourself to where they are now. Look at where they were, because they started their journey at some point. I just dug out this screenshot from the first Myles Dyer live from like 3 years ago, just to show you what it looked like. It looked like this. It, like, different angle. I had like a little desk. Lighting wasn't right. It was super dark. I had myself boxed in with the stuff at the bottom. Like, it was fine. It worked fine. But it's completely ugly. Yeah. And like comparing to how this has gone through a massive journey, and it's like getting new desks. Even the lighting right now changed just 2 days ago, because I'm actually going to do it now on my phone. So my lighting used to be like this. It was like maxed out. I mean, this is great, but I realized that if you just dim down the backgrounds a bit, it just kind of brings you a bit more focus. And I'm still going to be tweaking it, but you're always kind of working it out. But yeah, having natural light, being in a window, like natural light, if it's a big window, you just don't want concentrated light. That's why a lamp would be too harsh. So having it wide can really help. Yep. And I also think that when it comes to live streaming or any video, is about audio and it's about visuals. But if you were to say, do you want better audio or better visuals? It's better audio, always. Like, and just think of the exercise, everyone. Would you rather watch a terrible looking video with great audio or a great looking video with terrible audio? You would, because audio is the information, and that is super important.
You won't stay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big part of it. A question I've got for you, I'm going to answer it first, okay? So I was going to ask you, Katie, to say one thing about my setup that you like, that you would want to add to yours. And you might not have anything, but the one thing you've got that I love, and I want to fix this, is you're looking directly at the camera. So what have you got? Have you got an Elgato prompter?
I don't. I don't.
So you just have your camera above, because it's a webcam, so it's right above your laptop, right?
It's right above my laptop. I remain on a journey across the board. I hate that word, but I'm going to keep using it. I love it. I actually have simplified this entire space. So I'm about 3 minutes down the road from the Ecamm studio, which has all of the stuff. When I'm in that space, like, it's the coolest possible. Everyone's like, whoa, it's so cool. Like, it has cool lights. Everything is incredible. It feels special. But I found that when I was creating content in that space, it was almost intimidating for people who were watching who were new. They were like, well, I'm never going to look like that. Right. That's thousands of dollars. So at home, I wanted to be able to, know how everything worked myself. I didn't want it to be super complicated. And I wanted it to feel almost like less, I don't want to say quality, but like in some ways, like a lower quality than what was in the studio, because I wanted it to feel friendly. I didn't want to make anyone feel like they couldn't get here to this spot. So I have like really simple things. Like I have an Elgato key light. I have a bit of a bigger light here. I definitely need to put I have these little nan light tubes I need to put behind me for my backlight. So that's, you asked about your space. I still want to be able to figure out, I think I need to move my desk a little bit more forward to create a little bit more space behind me to add a bit more backlight and lighting there. I've been back and forth on whether or not I like my mushrooms. I kind of want to add.
I love the mushroom stuff. Okay, movie stuff. I like the contrast. Yeah.
Yeah, I like, so it's like maybe a little bit too busy. We have this like awesome sofa off to the side. I'm like, oh, maybe I want a more casual. I'm sort of always thinking those things through. But what I've really learned over the last 7-ish years is that it needs to work for you. It can look super cool, and you can spend all the money and match exactly what, so and so favorite person's studio looks like. But if it doesn't work for you, or you have someone else set it up and then you actually don't know how any of the stuff works, and a light goes out or a camera fails or whatever. I was constantly in this situation where my team, who I love, would come into the studio and they would borrow a camera, move something around to, they would take, it's a test studio. So they would move things, add things in. So I would get there and I'm like, I don't know how to use this camera, or where did the other camera go?
Right.
The settings were all different. So I could never just sit down and record, which meant that I was not recording as often or not streaming as often. And I just felt dumb all the time. Like I just always felt like I had to call someone. So I love this little webcam. As you said, it's right above my computer. And I've intentionally kept a teleprompter out of this space. I've kept a stream deck out of this space because I want to train myself to not look down at my laptop, to look up at the camera. I want to train myself to not be so reliant on my notes. I really just want to be more conversational, more present in the moment. So it's all been sort of intentional uncomfortableness to train myself rather than rely on all of the tech and gear. I have it available to me, which is a luxury, but I don't, if I rely so heavily on it and then it breaks or it's gone, or I don't know how to, it updates and I don't know how to use it anymore, I don't have the time, then I just feel awful. So in this space, it's super simple. I can also throw it all in a bag and bring it with me. I can bring all of this with me super easily to the UK when I come. Like it's all small. It's all very small and very portable.
Right.
Even this microphone comes right off here. I can toss it in a bag. It plugs into my computer. I'm good to go.
I like the custom color on it, by the way. I'm actually looking online to get, because you can get the custom back plates. Have you got one?
Yeah. No. I did mine. It's a colorware, so the whole whole microphone is all colored. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and get one with the branding on the back, although for a lot of the times it can't be seen. But yeah, it's the idea of like equipment is not going to solve your live streaming, like the bare minimals. I actually made the mistake when I became, I worked with YouTubers, a part of their Creators for Change program, and I got a grant and I invested in so much equipment for a podcast studio, and I did Quest for Empathy, but I was having to pay for the space to use it. So it was not sustainable. So what you want to do, and it's what a lot of content creators do, is you start with small stuff with a small audience, and as your audience builds, you can start adding stuff to it, and that's sort of how you scale up together, because that's the way you want it. You want to keep improving over time. If you put loads of stuff and you're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to keep this up, or this isn't working, and then you take it away, the expectations of your audience is like, oh, now they've stepped back. So it's always better to build it up than the other way around. People aren't going to worry about the kind of camera you're using if that's what you've always used and that's what they're tuned into. I think that's really important. When you're talking about that you can use your phone, I want to share this because this always cracks me up. I'll never forget when, oh God, this terrible image again. I'll never forget when Apple said for one of their presentations, this entire presentation was recorded on an iPhone. And it's like, that's amazing. And then you look at how they did it, and this was it. And it's like,
all you need is an iPhone.
All you need is an iPhone. This was all done on just an iPhone. And then you look at the next photo, and it was like, so it's like, yeah, so this is all done on just an iPhone. Oh, so you just get one of those massive lighting rigs in,
with a whole team and a studio and lighting and
But the right point of it is you can do stuff just on your phone. Obviously, tonight they're extreme, but like as long as you've got it rested somewhere so it's steady. There's little tips like you want your eyes to be 2/3 up the screen. You don't want to be looking up at it. You don't want to be looking down at it because your audience feels that you're looking down at them. So being at level. I am actually going to be investing though in an Elgato prompter later, but a lot of it is going to be for when. Well, two things. One is it's so that in moments like this, because I've got my camera between my two screens, I haven't been able to get it.
Yeah.
So it's like so I can actually see you at the camera. That's going to be useful.
Yeah.
But then the
eye
other
contact is nice. Yeah.
it is really good. And then the other aspect of it is when I want to do videos, and like sometimes I just want to have my notes there, and that can and again, as you say, it's not about setting these systems up as a crutch. If you're starting for the first time and you've just got scripts, that's what you're going to rely on. When I first learned public speaking, and I guess it's an excuse for my laziness, I didn't really use scripts a lot. I just always thought I'd wing it. And eventually you sort of do build, and I developed an ability where I could think about what I wanted to say next as I'm speaking. And like you sort of learn those skills by putting yourself out there. Delta Charlie says, and I'm going to go through the questions people have been asking. You good to stay on for like another 10 minutes?
I'm fine.
Katie?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Delta Charlie says, wish I had something interesting to stream. This is such a common one, right? You hear this with YouTube, like, I could make content, but like, what do I have that anyone wants to hear? I've got an answer, but what's your answer to that, Katie?
Oh my gosh. What are you passionate about? What are some of your hobbies and skills? What do you talk to with your friends? What are your cocktail party go-tos? Interesting facts and tidbits. I think that like there's an audience for just about everything. Like when I started doing a movie review show where we review movies from the 80s and 90s, I'm like, there's 800 million podcasts that talk about that topic. And yet it never ceases to amaze me that people show up week after week. All of my friends now are like, well, what movie did you watch this week? Like, can I be on the show next week? So
That's awesome.
there are little niche groups for virtually every single possible topic out there. So it's, I don't know. I have a conversation with ChatGPT. If you're an AI person, that's a great way to tell your favorite AI friend what you really like to do and what you're interested in, and have it generate some topic ideas. I think you'd be surprised by how much you actually like, how interesting you actually are, and how much people would really value hearing some of your perspectives on your favorite hobby, something you're passionate about, what you do for work, what you want to help people with. There's a lot in there. It just doesn't feel like it all the time.
That's so true. And like once upon a time before the internet, you would have to go to local like youth clubs, or when you were young, or go out to the pub to find people with similar interests. Now you might have the nichiest niche of every niche possible, and because you're now open to the world, there'll be people out there. I've done episodes like this, even like 18 years down the line. I did a few episodes of this where when I went live, there was like 2 people, and there was just 2 people for the 40 minutes, and I still did it. And that's absolutely fine. Even having just one person there, it's not putting yourself into pressure and expectation. And it also, ultimately, it's about just doing it for you, of like, oh, you know what? I just want to give it a go. Exactly. And if you find something interesting, there is going to be someone out there who finds it interesting too, or someone who didn't even realize they'd find it interesting. And as you do it, it becomes this kind of symbiosis where, this show has evolved not just because of ideas I've had, but feedback I've got from the community and things that I've learned. And like over a year ago, we always used to end this live stream with words on stream. It was a word game. It was always a fun way to end, but it was always like another 20 minutes. We don't do it anymore. And it was kind of like, we kind of miss it, but it's like we had that. I then also used to do a puzzle where I'd set up for every live stream a puzzle of the thumbnail. So if there were people that wanted to do something while watching, they saw how quickly they could do it. It was kind of cool. We don't do that anymore just because of like, it was a lot of time to set up every week. And it's like, sometimes you add things, some things you change, and sometimes things will come back. Nat Attack Gaming says, how different is streaming games versus streaming talking chats like this? And Gamescast is what I do on Fridays, where I talk about games. Streaming games, I'll speak on that, and then I'll let you speak about like streaming more podcasts and that. So when you're streaming games, there is a performance to it. So I have done a couple of times flat screen games, as we call it, where I'm sat here, and look, obviously lots of people love it. I don't really enjoy it a lot because, firstly, I think that if you're streaming a game, obviously you should just be doing it because you want to play games. But for me, in my mind, I'm like, if I really want to be successful at it, I either need to be really entertaining or really good at it. And I'm neither. I am pretty decent at it, but also to be pretty decent at a game, I also get really serious on camera. Like, I've got to really concentrate. Virtual reality, I am in the world. Like, right now, I am in this horror game. Right now, I am skiing down a mountain. Right now, I am breaking into a building to rescue someone with an assault rifle in my hands. That stuff is interesting, and it's why it appeals to a lot of you who aren't gamers or aren't into VR. You're seeing Myles and like, oh my God, I'm watching Myles on green screen. He's in there. And as Katie said earlier, because it's live and I'm playing a horror game, like anything could happen. Like this hasn't been edited.
You're sort of wondering like will Myles get attacked?
Yeah.
When is he okay?
Exactly. A horror movie is scripted. Like there are jump scares. Obviously, there's scripting in games, but there's this real sense of like, no, I'm watching something in real time. And actually, Katie, I use my Apple Watch, so on screen you see my heart rate as I'm doing it. So like people are seeing the physiology. So that is really cool. It's for me, it's like live streaming games. It's more of you're there for the performance of it, I think, and it's also the kind of you're consuming the media. When it comes to streaming chats, I'll let you speak to that in terms of what you think it takes to do that kind of thing. Yeah.
I've never streamed a game. I've watched a bunch of gaming streams, but I've never done it myself. So I can't really speak to that. But I do think they're similar from a big picture standpoint in that you are creating an experience, right? So
True.
when Myles is creating an experience where he's in the game and it's a VR experience and we're sort of entering in and get to be voyeuristic, that's an experience that is created and fostered. When we're doing a podcast interview like this, or when I'm talking movies with my best friend, it's still an experience. We're still trying to make sure that the people who are watching with us live or who are joining and listening or watching later feel that sense of nostalgia. They feel like they can submit their questions. They know where to go to be able to say like, oh, I saw that movie, or I hated that, or I loved your perspective on that. Like what you really want to be able to do, regardless of whether it's an interview or a demo or whatever you're doing on screen, is less important than thinking through how are people experiencing that on the other end, and what kind of community are you creating, what kind of experience are you creating for them that's different than what they're getting elsewhere, right? Because they could be binging the latest season of Bridgerton, they could be out with friends, they could be doing all these different things. So you are competing with a lot of other stuff to get their attention. So the cool thing about what we're able to do in a live environment is that there is the live chat and the experience you're creating there, and then ideally you're also building something long term where people feel like they can connect in with you. There's this incredible show I'm a huge fan of. It's an Australian comedy podcast called Tony and Ryan. It wins all kinds of awards all the time. It's very crass, so if you're not into swearing or crass talk, do not check it out. But but they've done a really phenomenal job, and it's always kind of playing in the back of my head as things I need to take tips on and improve on, even in my own shows, in that they are constantly pulling conversations from their community into the show. So even though people are not live with them, they don't live stream their show, the community feels like they're part of the show. They have their Patreon members leave voicemails for them that say like where they're calling in from. They have questions that come in, they have topics, or they share embarrassing stories that people submit anonymously and they react to it. So the intentionality of that experience is these are all of your closest friends hanging out, and we're all sharing like the embarrassing things we wouldn't tell anyone else. We're spending this secret time together. So yeah, I think like it's as a viewer, as a community member in any of these experiences, it's what you enjoy. You're going to be drawn to whatever you enjoy most. So yeah, like maybe you love the gaming experience and that's why you're in those environments, or maybe you just love a super deep conversation and you're following along with that, or a little bit of both. So
it's so true. I mean, I remember when I used to do some mentoring at schools, and you'd always get the kids saying, I want to be a YouTuber, and the question I'd always ask them is why? Like,
exactly.
I've seen a lot of people do it where they'll make content just to chase the views, and they do very successful, but then they have to pivot because they're not happy. Like, you've always got to think about this when you do anything content wise, because it's about consistency. You got to just be honest with yourself. Or anything in life, like a job. Obviously, jobs, sometimes we have to do the jobs we don't enjoy. But like when it's a project that you've got a choice of whether you want to do it or not, hand on heart, are you going to enjoy this? And it might be something that you just have to experiment with, and it turns out, okay, it's not for you. But like, you've always got to think about, if this takes off, can I do more of it? Like, that's one of the fundamental questions with content creation is, if this is successful, can I do more of it? So is it repeatable? In the case of my old podcast, access to the studio, it was going to cost me a lot, wasn't, and then I brought it here during the pandemic. This is all set up and it works. But it's also like, am I going to be energized? I sometimes do this show when I really don't feel like it, but I know that when I come on here, everyone's awesome and I feel better for it. Like, that is why it's super
how do you
important.
feel when you exactly, how do you feel when you like when you hit that end button? Like, is it that like, oh, I'm so glad that I did that, was so fun, I feel way better? Or is it this like, it matters? You're right, because we're all doing so much these days, and all of these projects are going to demand so much of you. Like, this space is time consuming. It takes a lot of time to figure out what you want to do, how you want to create it. You're always making improvements. There's always, some engine you need to feed, whether it's, getting short clips out across all the social channels or develop it. Like, there's always something more that you can do. So you definitely want to enjoy doing it, or find a space where it is energizing to some extent. Like, the people you talk to, the content you're creating, the story you're telling should feed you in some way. Otherwise you 100% will burn out. It's just a lot.
Yeah. Dino Maximus says, I would love to live stream gaming, but social anxiety and nerves, it would be a disaster. Well, firstly, it wouldn't be a disaster. But secondly, like, having nerves and being anxious about it, like, this isn't something you should force yourself into. I think that there are different contexts for live streaming that can make things better or worse. So I think just going live with, when I say without a plan, like, don't, when you have a live stream, okay, you might have like bullet points of like, these are things that I want to do if I'm talking about something. Like on this show, I know, and I speak to Kate beforehand, which is there's going to be a countdown, which I think is something I wouldn't recommend doing for your first live stream. That is only going to increase anxiety of like 5 seconds left, stuff like that. But then it's like, I'm going to be on screen fully, just rambling about some housekeeping. And then I said to Katie, then I'm going to bring you on, and then we're going to chat for an hour. And like, that is it. I don't actually have any notes, just because I knew Kate and I were gonna we know each other well, and we were just gonna gel. But like, having that flexibility, some people might find that intimidating. Like, what if I don't have any questions or stuff? Like, got the live chat, this is it. I also think, like, when I do my gaming live streams, the way that's set up, could be anxiety inducing. If it is, I'm gonna go live, and I'm just gonna say, hey everyone, I'm just setting up my game. I think we're going to play this. Because actually there's a lot of live streamers, especially on Twitch, where it is very much like they go live and they're like, hey, everyone. They'll probably just be drinking, having some snacks, chatting. All right, I think we'll play a game now and jump into it. That is less of like a formal format. So I think that when it comes to live streaming the first time, don't treat it like a show. Just treat it like a meet and greet. Like, just, hey, who's out there? And then just, give it a go like that. What would you say for anyone that's got social anxiety or stuff?
I am the person that is always keen to bring a friend with me. So if you want to do it, so like if this is not your thing, it is completely fine for it to not be your thing. Like, there are people out there who this does not bring them joy. This is outside their, like, I would never want anyone to be doing something that is against what they want to do. But if it is something that you've been looking to do, but you know that you have these feelings, I brought, like, my poor best friend, who I adore, she, for the first probably 20 live streams that I did, I kid you not, I had her either in the green room, so like actually in the live video, but not able to talk or be shown in the video itself. She would just sit back there and like give me thumbs up and like wave, so I could see her and no one else could see her, and it just made me feel better. Or I would have her in the chat as like a fake viewer that other people just thought was there hanging out. So then I didn't feel like there was no one watching.
Yeah.
Or if someone was starting to be, awful in the chat,
Sure.
she could moderate and get rid of them, or she would jump in and say like, oh, that was a great point. Or like she would have my notes and remind me of stuff. So having someone else maybe behind the scenes might help. And honestly, I almost never am by myself when I'm live streaming, or many cases recording. I'm doing a conversational interview style where I bring someone else on and I'm able to then just have them share their brilliance, or I'm with a co-host. So I just know that with me, it would feel very scary for me to be completely by myself. And I probably would not do as well a job as if I was with someone else or had someone else with me. I just do much better in a conversational format. So I'm just leaning into that. There's no one telling me that I have to do it one way or the other. So for me, I'm going to bring a friend. So make those decisions for yourself. What makes you feel better about it? And do you have people that can help support you in it? I also never, or very rarely, watch back any of my videos, even though everyone tells you should. I know that that's not going to make me feel great. I would rather a friend say, oh, that was pretty good. You did these 3 things that you should do differently next time. I'm like, oh, okay, great. I can make those changes. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it and rip myself apart or feel bad about it. So it's getting comfy with who you are and what brings you joy and what makes you feel awful, and just we're constantly moving towards what brings you joy and make you feel your sparkly self and comfortable and confident, and just push away anything that is making you feel less than, because you can choose where you want to be in this space, which I think is huge.
It really is an exercise of mindfulness, of being present with live streaming, because obviously you're in the moment, you're thinking of stuff. And I love the idea of obviously having a friend with you is a good thing, but just asking a friend, hey, do you want to be in the chat? And I'll just talk with you.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of good on Instagram Live, if you've just got friends on there. Oh, so-and-so is live, I never that. And then once Instagram Live, when I go on, I normally have maybe 5 people there, and because people scroll, and it's always that thing of so-and-so join the room, and I know what they've done is they've scrolled, and then it's me going, hey, so-and-so, and they're like, shit, I didn't mean to do that.
I wasn't meaning to do that.
Yeah, I wasn't meant. They're talking to me now, I've got to stay, and, a lot of people, but just having one person, there's a lot of times I've done Instagram Lives, and I've just chatted with 1 or 2 people, and that's fine, because it's just hanging out, it's taking the pressure off with that kind of thing.
Yep.
Let's have a look here. Callie Timecat says, is streaming as popular now than edited videos? It feels like it is. I edited my film reviews for almost 3 years, but then tried live streams, my reviews, and was surprised audience didn't drop much. Yeah, I think on YouTube in particular, I think live streaming does rank well, and can do good. Also, the metric that a lot of content is judged by is watch time. Because at the end of the day, platforms want you spending as much time on a platform as possible. So there was a content creator from the early mid 2000s called, I think it was called like Ted. I can't remember what his last name was. He did these videos where the thumbnail was of some horrific, like someone gets blown away in a tornado. But what he did was, in his garden, is he stuffed his clothes with pillows, and he'd be like, oh, hey, Ted, what's going on there? Are you getting blown away in a tornado? And then it would be a really poorly edited tornado, and he would throw like this mannequin. So it'd be him turning into the mannequin. It was always terrible, and he'd go, no. And that was like the catchphrase. And his videos got millions of views because you would see it on the YouTube search of like, man gets blown away in a tornado. Everyone's clicking it, and then the joke was it was never what
and
was
it'd
promised.
Be ridiculous. Yeah.
Which performed well in classic YouTube. But I remember because I worked for a YouTube network, and he was on our roster, and his account just completely plummeted because YouTube then changed it of, we want to reward watch time. And what happened was, yes, you got millions of people clicking on it, but then they clicked off straight away, or the video was 10 seconds. So it's like, if you're doing a live stream that's 10 minutes long, people are more naturally going to watch more of it, firstly because there's an interactive conversation, but also the way you talk is in full sentences, it's not jump cuts. People know when they're watching a live stream, it's more conversational. It's the thing that, I'm going to listen to this while I'm going for a drive. Without Parole that I present on Fridays, I listen to Wednesdays and Mondays show when I'm out and about. Like, it's just a part of my walking routine. And so I do think that live streaming doesn't always perform. I think videos still have a place, and I wish I did them. but I just don't have time to. But I think that live streaming has never been as strong as it is now to put out there.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think I've seen at Ecamm, especially a very big trend over the last year of more and more huge level creators who have millions of subscribers on YouTube who are now realizing that they need to get back into doing a lot more live streams because their audiences want to spend time with them in a non-produced way. So, I can think of a couple of different people who are in the food, like cooking world, right? And it's like they've done these incredible produced cooking shows that are as good as what airs on like Food TV, Food Network, right? But they want these kind of more real, raw, a little bit less produced. Like, come with me into my kitchen. I'm going to make pizza today. Let's make pizza together. Pull up a chair. I think people really like, the world is so stressful right now and everything just feels big. And so the idea that you can actually
fast-paced. Yeah.
And fast-paced. And the idea that you can actually just pop on a live stream, even if it's honestly like if it's on your TV and you're prepping dinner yourself, but you feel like you are with those people, and you could if you wanted to pop in and chat with them, and they would see you and engage back with you. And that, I think that feels nice for all of us in the same way that, like, I don't know about you, but my mom was always the one who had the Home and Garden Network on in the background forever, like all day, every day for the dog, right? It would just be like on all the time. And I think it's that kind of feeling that people are going back to, that even if they're passively watching it on a live stream, they're like, oh, well, I need to be there because Myles is here right now, and I don't really want to miss it. And I might come back and watch it in more detail later, but it's there with me as I'm finishing the other things. Or I start it on TV at home, and then I need to, take the dog out for a walk or go for a run, and I'm going to pop it into my ears, listen to it, come back. Like, you can now switch between formats really easily as well. So the long form content and the live, less polished content is really starting to get a huge resurgence again, because people just want for it to feel less fake, I guess, less produced, less edited. They want that real experience. They're just craving this humanity that I think we all really need right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely that. And micro influencers is a term used in marketing where, you have regular influencers, and you could tune into live streams that's been watched by thousands of people, and you can't keep up with the live chat. Micro influencers are important because if you're trying to promote a product, there might be someone that has like 50 views per video, but if that's 50 people that are really into that particular product or niche,
and they're there every week. Exactly.
That is 50 potential customers and stuff like that. And so we don't always need to think big. Like, small, a bit more slow pace is great. And what you mentioned about cooking, I've never really liked cooking programs. I've always wanted to be better at cooking, but it's because they say you do this, and I'm already like, but that ingredient, like, I need to, where would I get that at a supermarket? And like, is it, and in America they use cups, you measuring cups. We do, like, I don't know what we do in comparison. But anyway, whereas if you're on a live stream, you can ask questions. And if it's someone cooking and there's 20 people watching, you're probably going to get a response. And that is, I think, super cool. It goes back to it, authenticity, intimacy. There's a humanity to it, which we need more and more, especially as we see the rise of AI. Dina Maximus was just saying, thanks for the input, guys. It's definitely something to think about. Really appreciate it. And King Rolo, the Liberty Cat, says, hee, love the wallpaper. Definitely talking about yours. So
Thank you.
Really, really good stuff there. Couple more, and then we're going to wrap up. App UK says, back in COVID times, I really liked watching streamers on Twitch, but haven't been on it for years. Has YouTube taken over, or is Twitch still popular? My quick answer is Twitch is still very popular, but like from a creator side, because I'm always asked, like, why don't I use Twitch? It's because you'd literally have to live stream 4 to 8 hours a day to build any momentum. I've also had a YouTube channel. I've already talked about how, well, YouTube is the second most used search engine in the world, second to Google. So there is the fact that things can be rediscovered on VOD afterwards. It's just an ecosystem I like more. And so I think Twitch is still good. Obviously, a lot of people use it for just chatting. I think that's for really long sessions for people that are going to be. If I wasn't doing this as an episode and I was just hanging out and live streaming, and that's all I did, I'd probably use Twitch more. But because I come on with more of an intention of like, this is what I'm going to talk about this week, I think that's why YouTube sort of caters for me. What do you think, Katie?
YouTube is just a gigantic force right now, and continues to grow, and is really disrupting a lot of traditional media. So we are seeing more and more, traditional media hosts and even celebrities moving over into the YouTube space. And if you think about it, it is an app on almost everyone's TVs and everyone's computers and everyone's phones. So the accessibility and availability of content across that platform, tied with the fact that they are entirely surfacing content based on interest right now. So if you are even at all indicating that you are interested in XYZ thing, it is just finding all of that content across this platform and surfacing. So it's a great time to be a micro influencer and a creator in some of these niche spaces, because if you're just there consistently creating good content and you're showing up week after week, and I'm out here searching, 90s movies, and Myles is doing his thing every single week, like YouTube is just showing it in all of these different places. So I agree. I think that Twitch is definitely still a force, and there are some incredible creators out there. But YouTube is just, it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere, and everyone has access to it. And even people who have no idea how to use any of this stuff have YouTube on their TVs. It's a button on their remote. So they are able to find your content in ways that you don't even fully appreciate at this point, which is just crazy.
Last thing I was going to ask, we actually answered a lot of the remaining questions. Thank you, everyone, for the questions, by the way, today.
Thank you, yeah.
When I was involved and watching a lot of live streaming pros, and I don't know if I actually spoke to you about this before, my impression stateside that when it comes to live streaming, there's a big cohort of customers or people interested in live streaming, which is the churches. Like, because church... it totally made sense when I learned it, but there's just a lot, like, churches like to live stream. Like, is it still a big customer base, or
it's still a huge customer base. And if you think about it, it's because churches and really any kind of house of worship, whatever denomination or whatever religion, they are creating content every single week religiously. They are doing it over and over again, and it is a production. So if you think about the actual building and the teams, they have someone up on stage, they have volunteers who are doing AV, they are producing it in a space. So for them, it actually is significantly easier for churches and houses of worship as an organization to translate that into live streaming than it is for your everyday person, because they have the tech, they know the tech, they have the content. Like they're not trying to think about what they're talking about. They don't need to think about they know what the production is every single week. Their biggest challenge is, how do we get all of this in the same experience into YouTube or into Facebook or wherever else they're trying to go. So yeah, that was probably the first large wave of people that started really getting into live streaming as COVID hit. And they are all still now in that space because it allows them to reach a wider audience, and it allows them to be able to engage with their community in all kinds of different ways. So whether it's their weekly service, or it's a youth group experience, or it's a games night, or a senior conversation, or a prayer hour, they can take all of that into a virtual space really easily, because again, they have all of the content, they have all of the people, and in many cases they have all of the tech. They have all of their PTZ cameras, they have their AV equipment. They don't have any of those questions that the rest of us have. They know how to use all of that. It's for them, it's just connecting it in and actually broadcasting it, but all of the rest of it comes very naturally to them because they just do it every week after week after week.
That makes a lot of sense. Totally understand if you're not able to disclose this information, but what other customer groups are the biggest customers
Oh, yeah.
for Ecamm? Like what sort of categories are we talking about? Like it'd be church. Is
Sure.
it going to be like, I was going to say tele sellers, like people is it that? Is it
Oh, interesting. Like MLM
e-learners?
businesses.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, I would say right now it breaks into 3 different use cases, and then there are a number of different like industries and I guess industries for lack of a better word. So there are people who are creating shows. So that's podcasts, live streams, like they are creating regular, maybe it's an hour-long show every single week and they're using Ecamm for that. There are people who are producing events. So that's, maybe they're running like huge virtual events. Maybe they're adding like a live element to an in-person event that they're doing. They're recording video, but they are these kind of large events. And then there are people who are, I call them like professionals or presenters. These are people who are using, Ecamm has a full integration with Zoom. So these are people who are like facilitating meetings, webinars, workshops in a virtual environment and are taking it up a notch in what they're able to do. So they're able then to bring chat comments on screen. They, like here we have this design where we have our names, we have our little like borders around our video. You can do all of that in a Zoom environment, in a Meet environment, in, any one of these different like, meeting and webinar platforms. You can literally just pipe Ecamm directly into those platforms.
It's virtual cam, it's called, is it right? Yeah.
With a virtual cam, yeah. Zoom is a full integration. That one works.
Oh, wow.
It
Nice.
does a whole bunch more magic, but all of the rest of them, it will connect in as a virtual camera and a virtual microphone. But that allows you to do a lot in a virtual environment that you never used to be able to do before. So again, you can create a really cool, like almost equivalent to what an in-person experience is like in a virtual space that goes beyond what we've always been used to in these environments. So it makes things a lot less boring. But almost every conceivable, I've met magicians, musicians, educators, church people running like festivals and events, people who are, running the team at LinkedIn. They do all of their sales enablement calls using Ecamm. So there are certainly all different kinds of use cases, and the tool really lets you do just about anything in video. It really is a full production studio. The only limitation is that it's on your Mac. So if you're a PC person, you're on your own. But but otherwise, you're able to really create just about anything that you can think of. And it really, like, once you understand the nuances of it, it's really not that different than building out a keynote or a PowerPoint presentation. Like you can build it and kind of layer on how you want it to look, and then when you're ready, you either go live or record the video, and then you're just done. You've done the work. You don't have to do a ton of editing unless you want to, in which case all the files are waiting there for you and you can produce to your heart's content. You can edit and send to an editor or whatever else you want to do with them. But
at my end of year, I do an end of year quiz, and I've even got the slides here, so it'll look like this.
Right,
and so it's literally like you just have them appear on top of each other, and maybe there is actually a better way of doing it, but I just basically hide each one away. Oh, you'd have liked this one. It was Guess the Movies from last year.
I love it.
Yeah.
I probably couldn't other than Naked Gun, because that's an old one that's a remake. I've not watched any new movies.
Have you seen this one, number 3?
No.
Weapons. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. Zach Cregger made it. Really, really cool. All right, Katie, I want to say a massive thank you for your time on this. This actually reminds me, I need to create a new scene for this, because there's something I like to do, vitamin G, vitamin gratitude, and I've only got it on my solo screen. So I'll do it for this now. This is vitamin G right here, which is where we take a moment to think about something we are grateful for. Could be a person, could be a place, could be a thing. I invite the chat to share their vitamin Gs. I will think of my own. Katie, putting you on the spot, what is something that you are grateful for?
I'm honestly just grateful for the friends and contacts and colleagues that I've been able to meet through this video experience, which again is still so surreal to me that, if I went back to 10-year ago me and been like, this is what you're going to do for a living or on the day-to-day, I would have laughed at you. So I don't know, all of the people that I get to meet in the chat and in interviews like this has just been so rewarding, the conversations and the fun.
I like that a lot. And yeah, it's just amazing, the people that you connect with, and the community. Most of the people in the chat never met before. I mean, on the reality is, like, right now we are just looking at, like, screens. Like, there's no one physically there, and so much of our minds and our consciousness with the world and connectivity through the internet is... I've always believed that the internet is an empathy machine, but it's not to say there isn't a lot of people that go against that contract, and there's a lot of abuse. But I always talk about the fact it happens because, you know, the majority of communication is not what the content of what you say, it's tone of voice, body language, facial expressions. All of that happens here in live streaming, so it's a great reason for it. So it is one of the best mediums for communication online. B Green in the chat says vitamin G, cheese. I like cheese.
I'm with
cheese,
you. Yes,
cheese is good. Cheese is the one thing that would really make me struggle. I mean, I eat a lot of vegan products. I'm not vegan. I'm not even vegetarian, but I've cut down a lot on it. Cheese, and by the way, there are some good vegan cheeses now, but like cheese overall, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good.
I'm with you. I changed my answer. I would like to just restate cheese is my answer as well.
Cheese wins it for today. App UK says, I'm grateful for celebrating my 50th birthday in Tenerife recently. 10 days of sunshine while it's cold and wet in the UK. Amazing. This is what I love, is also like App UK. It's like when you see someone that you've heard on the radio for years and you're like, that's not what I thought they'd look like. And then you say, well, what did you think? Well, I couldn't tell you what they look like. When you say you're 50, I was like, I don't think you were 50. But then if you said, how old would I think? I have no idea. I don't know. It's cool. 50, man, half a century. I turn next Tuesday 39. So it'll be my last year in my 30s. So, yeah.
I got to tell you, 40s are pretty awesome. So the water's good over here.
That is, I love that you said that. I've loved to said that. So my gratitude goes to Katie and everyone else who is in their 40s telling me it's pretty good, because
you got this.
Yeah. Like I had to say 30s were good. Like 30s is the first decade where you have a real sense of what's going on. You still learn a lot, but like 20s, you're still a kid till your late 20s, to be honest. Sheeby3 says, going to say my vitamin G is all my fellow, she calls them DeLoreans. And for you, Myles, you remind me to take time out and let myself breathe and escape for a while. You are all awesome. Big love to you all. K Timecat says a helpful rep called Z who answers some burning questions I had about my hyperlapse creation. That sounds cool.
I love it.
Vitamin G, Bohemian People. What's Bohemian People?
I like it.
Okay, I like it as well.
They're chill.
B Green says happy birthday. Lots of happy birthdays. Canic Tune says my dad getting better in hospital. That is very good to hear.
Oh, good.
He's putting on weight even though the food is occasionally awful. Well, at least occasionally awful, not all the time.
Not all the time, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots of love for cheese. Lots of love for cheese.
As there should be.
Yeah, love cheese and cake equals cheesecake from Disco Beaver. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Cool. We're going to wrap it up there. Casey, thank you so much for your time. And Katie and I have not spoken face to face in real time we worked out 2.5 years when you were last in the UK. Now, I say this bittersweetly. In April, I'm supposed to be going to the States for a Game Cat meetup in Vegas.
We're just going to be like... crossing.
But as of right now, I'm not going to be going just because of a lot of that's been going on out there. So basically, if I'm not, we're going to hang out when you're over. But I'm going to be making a decision in the next few weeks. So look, it's a win-win either way. Either I get to go to the States, which I love, or I'll stay back here. But I will be working that out. So thank you, everyone. Do check out Katie's podcast. Do you want to give a quick elevator pitch for it? All the details and that are in the chat, but definitely give Katie a follow.
Absolutely.
The VHS.
Yeah, the VHS Club podcast. We review movies from the 80s, 90s, and today, which is the early 2000s, as we all know.
Yeah.
And we're a fun little community. So yeah, come hang out with us. We record live on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then obviously you can listen or watch wherever and whenever you'd like.
Excellent. A friend of mine bought me for Christmas a Blu-ray, and I was like, oh my god, I don't even have a Blu-ray player in the house. Like, this is the world we live in now. So I need to get one. I used to have one on my PlayStation 5 But then I got a PlayStation 5 Pro, and by default, they don't come with the disc drives anymore, so you have to buy them separately.
There's a whole new, it's a whole new wave. I've been on the hunt to get one of the CRT TVs that have the VCR built into them. I have a VCR and I have a Blu-ray player, but I want the little like kitchen TV so I can have my little movies while I'm watching. And it's so popular right now. Everyone just wants like the physical media. They don't want to be caught up in kind of the binge culture of all of it. So they're so expensive. So yeah, you get your Blu-ray player now before the prices go way up here soon.
Yeah, that is a really, really good shout. What else have I found? I've found a lot. I've been actually thinking a lot at the moment about. I have a whole box of photographs from when I was younger, and I haven't done it, and I want to start going through my phone and getting printouts and getting those books made for every year of like highlight stuff. Like physical's important. Like you know, if the internet went tomorrow and had a solar flare took out all of tech, the amount of stuff we'd lose. You know, you need to have stuff that can be grounded in. So I'm with you on that. All right. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for watching. Do hit the like button before you leave. And as always, it would be good to hear your final thoughts. So love, respect, empathy, and adios. Till next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness fading, painting goodbye big sky. Far away but dreaming of your ocean eyes.
Thanks, everyone. Katie had to rush off. Bless her. Katie's just awesome. I really do love the Ecamm fam, they're called. It's great. And as I mentioned, not a sponsor, but I'm a big advocate of it. But I do have in the description of this video, it says get Ecamm live here. So if anyone does want to get Ecamm and has a Mac, there's a link there. It's an affiliate link. I am going to start doing affiliate links for all the tech and probably do a video explaining my setup for this. and also my setup for my live stream downstairs. But now I'm on full screen. Like, do you see how I pop out from the background more compared to when I had it like... Let's have a look here. Also, I got told how to make the background music quiet. So when I press background music, it's nice and quiet. I don't know if you could hear it. I forgot to put it on earlier on. But then I can still do the sound effects. Like, I tell a really bad joke. There we go. Like that. So yeah, I think this was how it used to be. Yeah, so that's how it used to be, the live stream. Look how bright it was. That was how it looked. And then when I dim the background, look how much better it looks. So how it used to be and how it is now. Just turning it down. I think there's a middle ground because I like this one that's called Singapore. I like the purple color, so maybe I could do a dimmed down version of that. But this is the thing: is you're always working on your setups. And the other thing also, there was so much we could have talked about. Like, I live in this space. Like, I work at this desk. So some people can have a studio. Most people can't. Like, when my brother lived with me, this was his bedroom. And then I converted it because I was just like... Because we were brothers, it kind of worked out because we could share spaces. I couldn't have someone else live here. Just not enough space for it. So I converted it into an office during the pandemic. And it's worked out pretty good. But yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you. Guys, we've got so many guests booked in for this show. I'm just having a look at my calendar. Do I start talking about who I've got coming on? Do we talk about this? Maybe I could start doing it. I don't like to a lot because I don't want to put pressure on guests in case they have to cancel last minute. So next week, I'm having Jamie Feltham over. He runs the VR Game Showcase. Awesome guy. We're just going to talk about the VR industry because it's obviously had a bit of a rocky start. Then, oh my God, after that, it'll be a Q&A. We didn't do a Q&A, did we, in January? Because we had a guest on. Then the week after, well, I've got a space there. Then the week after that, I'm not going to tell you who the guests are, but I'm having a tattoo artist come on afterwards. Then after that, I've got a Twitch streamer. Then after that, I've got someone who runs... Well, I can say it. On the 1st of April, we've got Dan Long, who works at Insert Coin Clothing, who does this. Again, I just want to say also is, like, I don't do sponsorships. I'm not against it. If I ever did a sponsorship, it would be for something I already like and use. But also, like, I am going to be bringing on people that work for companies that I love. Like, I've even reached out to... This is going to sound so mundane. I've reached out to someone who works at the company that makes my my water filter jug. Because I've got this, like, eco-friendly water filter jug. And so it's all about the environment. So I've just reached out to him and said, do you want to come on and talk about, like, the importance of filtering water and, like, what it means for the environment and for our health? I think I've told you this before, I asked my dentist if they would come on. And she's totally up for it. So my dentist is going to come on. So the guests that we have on Myles Dyer Live are going to be across a wide range of topics. And that's what I love about this. And it's a good topic, I know. It's a good topic. I'm also getting the creator of this, I believe. I had this little keychain that you have a solution in it. So if you find a bee sleeping, you can give it a bit of sugar and it helps revive a bee. So I've reached out to them and they're up for coming on at some time. No, I'm not going to be having a dentist appointment. I know you're not saying that live, but yeah. Man's got hell of charisma for getting people to chat about anything. No, it's very easy. Yeah. Tooth and teeth health is very, very important. So can I just do a production test right now? Can you hear the background? Can you hear the music all right? Or could it be a bit louder? Because what I'll do is I'll just turn it up a little bit more. So this is at 15. That's 100. So I'm going to put it to maybe 20. I'll do a different song. So this is another one. This is at 20. Maybe I could put it to 25. Just want to see when it kicks in, though. I also always worry that the guests are going to be like, oh, I can hear music. Is that coming from me? Okay, you're all saying 20 works. Let's keep it to 20. All right, I'll go through that. Thank you, everyone. Maybe 30. Oh, okay, we're like an auction now. 20, 25, 30. All right, everyone, I'm going to shoot off. I'm actually going to step away from my computer, have a drink of water, and then I'm going to try and record a quick YouTube video about some big PSVR 2 news that came out today and see if I can get it out as a quick video. It is almost 11 p.m, so part of me feels that I should actually get some sleep because I've got the gym in the morning. Yeah, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should just get some rest because this show went on longer than expected, rightfully so. And rest is important. All right, everyone. Love to all of you. Take good care of yourselves. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.